Hi, I'm Jim with Real Estate Broker, and today I'm going to talk about the top 10 legal mistakes home buyers make. And these were put together by the California Association of Realtors, and they did some research, and they've got some real teeth to them, especially for first-time home buyers who possibly haven't been, in the market before and would like, some additional coaching along the way. So let's get started. The first one is not realizing that if you don't write a strong offer to purchase, the seller may reject or not respond to your offer. There's a misconception a lot of times that the seller is required to respond to your offer, and the fact of the matter is the seller is not required to respond to any offer if they choose not to. So again, writing a strong offer will probably get a good response. The second one, along the same vein, is not realizing that if you don't write a strong offer to purchase, you may lose the property to another, more highly motivated buyer. In both of these two, I think the definition of strong offer needs to be looked at. And a strong offer consists of a couple of things. One is a fully pre-approved buyer and a letter from their lender that they are fully pre-approved. Proof of funds for the down payment is very, very important. And number three is an offer that is reasonable. Obviously, you don't want to pay too much for a house, and you don't want to pay too little for a house because the seller's not going to sell it to you. So a reasonable offer, fully pre-approved, and proof of funds is really considered, a good strong offer. The last thing you might add to that is maybe, a reasonable amount of time to close escrow, say 30 to 45 days. Okay. Number three, not realizing that without a confidentiality agreement, the seller may not treat your offer as confidential. This is very, very important and a lot of times overlooked. If you submit an offer to a seller, let's say at $450, without a confidentiality agreement, they can take your offer and show it to somebody else and go, look, I got one right here for $450. If you want to pay me $460, the house is yours, and you're immediately out without any, further negotiation. So again, a confidentiality agreement is something your agent should coach you to get and submit with your offer. The next thing, number four, not understanding when the contract becomes legally binding. There's a lot of terms and conditions to every contract. And when you're obligated to perform, when that time clock starts to tick, and what your obligations are should be explained to you by your agent, and obviously is a very, very important part of making a home purchase. The next one is entering into an agreement before checking title records, liens, and other things to ascertain whether the seller will be able to close escrow as scheduled. The last thing you want to do is pay for an appraisal, pay for a home inspection, get full loan approval on a property, and all of a sudden find out 3 weeks into the deal that the seller owes 10 years worth of property taxes for $40,000 and the deal's never going to close. Kind of an exaggeration there, but it has happened. Maybe not 10 years worth, but anyway, due diligence is important to all those areas to make sure that there's a viable purchase here. Number six, not understanding the legal implications of loan and inspection contingencies and other contractual provisions. We kind of touched on that earlier. It's very important to understand what the terms of the contract are and what your responsibilities are as a buyer and what your rights are as a buyer. Loan contingency is a big one. Most contracts are written with a 17-day loan contingency, and in 17 days, the seller is going to ask the buyer to remove that loan contingency. If the buyer does remove that loan contingency at 17 days and the lender does not perform and the escrow does not close, the buyer more than likely will lose their deposit. So doing your diligence up front, getting a good lender, get fully pre-approved, having your proof of funds. So when you remove that loan contingency at 17 days, you call your lender and say, hey, can I remove a loan contingency? And they say, yes, you're fully pre-approved. You can do that with confidence and your deposit will not be at risk. So that's a very, very important one. And your agent should be able to coach you through that as well. Number seven, not obtaining all the seller's disclosures. The seller is required by the contract most of the time to disclose a lot of information to you about the condition of the home, if it's up against a freeway, if there's a noise issue, so on and so on. Make sure you get all those disclosures and review them closely with the assistance of your agent or some kind of counsel that you may deem necessary, and really understand, what it is that's going on with the property that you're purchasing. Number eight is not conducting your home inspections and investigations as a buyer. You've got not only loan contingencies, but you've got inspection contingencies. The seller's going to be providing you with a lot of hazard disclosures. You're going to want to do a home inspection. You're going to want to have an appraisal done. The lender's going to require it as well. If you have a septic tank on the property, you're going to want to get a septic certification that's working properly. If you have a well, you're going to want to get a well cert. There's a lot of different things that you're going to want to investigate to make sure the property is fit for habitation and is going to meet your needs as a buyer. And those need to be done in a timely manner because the contract's going to require that. Number 9, not fully considering the legal, tax, credit, and other ramifications of home ownership. That's something your agent should obviously have you up to speed with, and maybe your lender as well, as to what is it going to cost you to own the property and what are your responsibilities as a homeowner. Do you have a homeowners association? Are you responsible to pay homeowners dues? How much are the property taxes per year and when are they due? What kind of insurance is required on the property? Is fire insurance required? Probably if you have a loan. Is flood insurance required? Probably if you have a loan and it's in a flood zone. All those different things are things that you need to understand, really before you write the contract. What am I getting myself into? And last, not properly handling a claim for a property that you discover defects after the close of escrow. And the best way to do that, in my experience, has been, let's say you find something, a defect that you feel needs to be repaired and that the seller maybe should have disclosed to you. Possibly didn't come up on the home inspection. The best way to do that is through compromise, like anything, and go to the seller and ask them to work with you on taking care of the defect. Most of the time, most sellers are very willing to help in that vein and to compromise and get that deficiency resolved without any big to-do or litigation or whatever. So those are the top 10 mistakes home buyers make. If you'd like a copy of the list, I think it's a great list and a good point of reference. You can sure contact us at oovhomesearch.com. Again, that's oovhomesearch.com. Look forward to talking to you and have a great week.